Hi guys, we're back with more from The Terrible Two by Jory John, Mac Barnett, and illustrated by Kevin Cornell. We were on chapter 4. Miles awoke with a sense of dread. He opened his eyes and stared at his blank ceiling. Last night he dreamed it had all been a dream, and now he wished he were still dreaming. Miles shut his eyes tight. He tried to fall back asleep, but downstairs he could hear his mother shuffling around the kitchen, preparing breakfast. Breakfast smelled like eggs and cows, although that might have just been cows. Miles ate his eggs. They tasted like dread, although that might have just been the dread. The dread stayed with him on the car ride to Yanni Valley Science and Letters Academy. Mom, what if I skip this grade? Miles said. Lots of kids skip a grade. Then I could just spend this year working on projects. You know I have a lot of projects. This could be my project year. Miles, when you skip a grade, you don't get a year off. You just start the next grade. I know that, Mom, but if I did that, I'd be younger than all the rest of the kids. That wouldn't be good for my development. That's why I think my project year is such a good idea. You're not having a project year. Maybe I could take this year to travel. You know I've been wanting to see the world. They say traveling is the best education. No. Maybe I could take a sabbatical. Do you know what a sabbatical is, Mom? Yes. Do you know what a sabbatical is? It's basically a project year. No. They pulled up to the front of the school. Did you remember everything? Judy asked. Miles checked around him. He had his new backpack, his new lunch bag containing his lunch, his new binder, his new folders, his new jacket, and most importantly, his old pranking notebook. It was a boring-looking notebook on the outside, of course, so as not to seem suspicious. But inside, it was a fabulous notebook filled with blueprints and maps and notes and plans for all the best pranks Miles had pulled. The ghost prank, the missing front tooth prank, Operation Soggy Homework, they were all in there, plus others. 2 cats instead of a dog, fish in the bed, lemonade without any sugar, mission pie. Inside was all the great stuff that had made Miles famous. Ketchup that looks like blood, raisins everywhere, Operation Sandy Shorts. Fish in the bed, fish, pillowcase, bed, the ghost prank. On your first day at a new school in a new town, you get to decide what kind of kid you are going to be. You could be the smart kid, or the kid who has cool shoes. You could be the kid who knows everything about old cars, or current events, or World War I. The kid who always has chapstick, chess kid, basketball kid, student government kid, kid who organizes canned food drives, front row kid, back row kid who always has his hand up even though he doesn't know the answers, kid who's allowed to see R-rated movies, kid who isn't allowed to see R-rated movies but says he does and just makes up their plots based on the previews, kid whose family doesn't own a TV and just wants to watch your TV. On the first day of school, you could fake a French accent and be the foreign kid. You could bring your teacher a gift and be the kiss-up kid. Expensive school supplies kid who sharpens his pencil 10 times per period, the 2 different socks quirky kid, the kid who wears shorts every day regardless of the weather. Today was a day when you could decide to become a new kid and be that kid for the rest of your life. The sign says, Principal Barkin says, welcome back, bovines. Let's make this our best year. But Miles didn't want to be any of those kids. He didn't want to be a new kind of kid at all. Miles wanted to be the same kind of kid he was at his old school, the prankster. Miles had been the best prankster his old school had ever seen, and he'd be the best prankster at his new school, too. Bye, Mom! He got out of the car and surveyed Yanni Valley Science and Letters Academy. It was a squat brick building in the shape of a squat brick. Miles looked around and saw all the typical school stuff. There was the typical marquee, the typical flagpole, and the typical flag attached to the typical flagpole. There was the typical gaggle of kids, the typical hedges, the typical trees, the typical school entrance blocked by somebody's car. Wait, that couldn't be right. Miles looked again. He approached the crowd of kids. Miles heard snickers. He heard snorts. He even heard some guffaws. There's a car on the steps, one kid said, stating the obvious. What is going on? Said the same kid. I mean, seriously, can somebody tell me? This kid was named Stuart. Anybody could have told him what was going on, but nobody did. That sort of thing happened a lot to Stuart. Miles's heart was beating fast. The bell rang, setting off the car alarm. Nobody moved. I mean, how are we supposed to get into school with that car there? Stuart collapsed into hysterical tears. Miles smiled for the first time since leaving his old town. That was a pretty good prank. Then he stopped smiling. It was a very good prank. He frowned. It appeared this school already had a prankster, a very good prankster. Miles Murphy didn't know anything about World War I, and his socks matched. If Miles wasn't the school prankster, he was nobody.